In the 2022 heatwaves, the United Kingdom recorded 40.3 degrees Celsius in Lincolnshire, its highest since records began. The United Kingdom Health Security Agency estimated around 2,985 excess deaths in England were linked to those heatwaves. The ONS put the wider United Kingdom figure above 4,500. On most of those death certificates, listed causes included heart attacks, strokes, and respiratory failure. Heat rarely gets a line of its own. The buildings those people were inside were a contributing factor. British homes were designed to retain heat. They do it year-round. The warming climate has made that a problem, and the summers are getting longer. The heat waves of 2022 were not an outlier. They were a warning. That July, Lincolnshire hit 40.3 degrees Celsius for the first time in the UK's recorded history. The Met Office called it a milestone, but for thousands, it was a matter of survival. Official analysis from the Office for National Statistics and the UK Health Security Agency linked nearly 3,000 excess deaths in England to those heatwaves. Across the UK, the toll climbed above 4,500. Most of those deaths were recorded as heart attacks, strokes, or respiratory failure. Rarely does heat appear on the death certificate, but the pattern is clear. The Centre for Aging Better puts the longer story into focus. More than 10,000 heat-related deaths occurred between 2020 and 2024. In a single summer, the UK could now see over 5,000 lives lost to heat if trends continue. Older adults face the greatest risk, especially those living alone or in care. But the threat is not confined to the elderly. Anyone in a poorly ventilated, heat-retaining home is vulnerable when temperatures soar. The numbers are not just statistics. They are a measure of what happens when the places meant to protect us become part of the hazard. Simon Wyatt, a senior engineer at Cundall, summed up the industry's approach. We design to the minimum standard pretty much universally. We do not design to good practice. The UK's hot home problem is not just about weather. It was locked into the walls, windows, and regulations of millions of homes long before anyone asked how they would perform in a warming climate. Across the country, the reality of overheated homes is now captured in hard numbers. In 2011, only 18% of UK households reported that their homes became uncomfortably hot in summer. By 2022, that figure had soared to 80%. The University of East London survey paints a stark picture. Overheating is no longer a rare complaint, but the everyday experience for most households. The jump is even more striking among older adults. More than 488,000 households, headed by someone over 65, now report regular summer overheating, a group already at higher risk from heat-related illness. To move beyond survey responses, researchers have begun tracking temperatures inside real homes. In Southwark, London, the Hot Homes project fitted 40 flats and houses with sensors, logging temperature and humidity every few minutes through the summer. The results were unsettling. Every single home breached the World Health Organization's indoor safety threshold of 25 degrees Celsius at least once. During a mild September heatwave, 85% of these homes climbed above 27 degrees Celsius, and 10 reached over 30 degrees Celsius. One household endured 22 consecutive days where the average indoor temperature stayed at 27 degrees Celsius, often hotter inside at night than it was outdoors. Dr. Mary Khosravi, who led the University of East London study, describes a housing stock fundamentally mismatched to the climate. 80% of UK homes now overheat in summer, a tenfold jump since 2011. For residents like the Southwark family who watched their bedroom thermometer refuse to drop, the problem is not just discomfort. It is a threat built into the bricks and mortar, long before anyone asked how these homes would cope with heat. Victorian terraces, built through the late 1800s, relied on thick, solid brick walls and heavy slate roofs. These homes were engineered to hold onto every scrap of warmth, using dense materials that absorbed heat during the day and released it slowly through the night. Small single glazed windows and open fireplaces were the norm, with little thought given to cross-ventilation or summer cooling. Interwar years saw the rise of the semi-detached house, introducing cavity walls and modest loft insulation. Double glazing was rare. These homes still leaned heavily on winter comfort, with brick and tile construction that slowed down both heat loss and heat release. Post-war council estates, built from the 1940s to the 1970s, adopted cavity walls and started adding more insulation, but the focus remained on keeping cold out. Double glazing became more common, yet shading and ventilation for summer were afterthoughts. Modern homes from the 1990s onward pushed airtightness and high-performance insulation even further. Large floor-to-ceiling windows and sealed building envelopes promise energy savings in winter, but often trap solar heat inside. Each era left its mark, a built environment optimized for cold snaps, not heat waves. The result is a housing stock where the very materials meant to protect against winter now lock in summer heat long after the sun goes down. A bedroom can feel stifling long after the sun has set, not because of the weather outside, but because of what is inside the walls. The World Health Organization sets 25 degrees Celsius as the maximum safe indoor temperature, yet UK homes routinely exceed that threshold at night. The reason lies in a principle known as decrement delay. Dr. Anna Shipworth, a building physics academic, explains that when sunlight hits a solid brick wall, that heat does not immediately pass through. Instead, it is absorbed and released hours later. For Victorian brickwork, the delay ranges from 8 to 12 hours, so heat gained at noon can still be warming your bedroom at midnight. Mineral wall cavity insulation, common in interwar and post-war homes, shortens this lag to about 6.8 hours, but the effect is still enough to keep rooms uncomfortable deep into the night. Wood fibre insulation, found in some eco retrofits, holds heat even longer, up to 11 or 12 hours. The numbers are clear. The materials meant to protect us from winter cold now trap heat well past bedtime. This is why, during a multi-day heat wave, bedrooms can remain several degrees hotter than the air outside, making sleep difficult and raising health risks. Sunlight pouring through glass is the main driver of daytime heat build-up in British homes. A standard double-glazed window in the UK has a G value of about 0.63, which means it lets in nearly 2/3 of the sun's energy. For a south-facing or west-facing room, this turns the window into a powerful heater on any sunny day, even outside of a heatwave. Glazing engineer Sarah Thompson explains that most homes still use this type of glass, designed to maximise winter warmth, not to block summer sun. High-performance low-G glazing can cut solar transmission to 0.35 or less, almost halving the amount of heat that enters, but it remains rare in existing homes. The difference is stark. A living room with standard double glazing and no shading can reach 30 degrees by mid-afternoon, while the same room with low G glass stays several degrees cooler. With most homes built or upgraded for winter efficiency, the heat that streams through the glass is quickly absorbed by walls and floors, charging the thermal battery that keeps rooms stifling long after sunset. In June 2022, the government introduced Part O, a new rule meant to stop homes from turning into ovens. But there is a catch. Part O only applies to new builds. The 29 million existing homes, from terraces to flats, are left out. According to Arup's modelling for the Climate Change Committee, more than half of all UK homes already fail the basic summer bedroom comfort test. If average summer temperatures rise by just 2 degrees, about 90% will be at risk of overheating. Simon Wyatt, a senior engineer at Cundall, puts it plainly. We design to the minimum standard pretty much universally. We do not design to good practice. The result is a regulatory system that leaves most households exposed, because the rules were never written to ask how these homes would handle summer heat. Air conditioning sales have soared in Britain, but the numbers tell a different story from the headlines. Around 5% of UK homes have some form of air conditioning, compared to 90% in the United States and 60% in Japan. For most British households, installing air conditioning is neither simple nor cheap. A single split unit system costs between £2,000 and £5,000 to fit, with yearly running costs that can add £200 to £300 to the energy bill. Many older homes cannot easily accommodate ductwork or external units, and planning rules often complicate installations in flats or conservation areas. A retrofit contractor explains, "People think air conditioning is a quick fix, but it's rarely straightforward. The building itself fights you every step of the way. Even when installed, air conditioning only cools a room or two, while the rest of the house continues to trap heat. For most, the barriers are practical and financial, and the underlying problem, the way homes are built, remains untouched." Right now, millions of UK homes hold heat long after the sun sets, trapping temperatures above 27 degrees Celsius, even as the Met Office warns of record summers. Thousands die each year because design stopped at the minimum standard. The heat is not just outside, it is built in. Change starts at the walls.